to my Goldango, it was great.
Well, I mean, that's always a good thing when you get the Sneasler to get the Dire Claw, because it's a 50% chance to cause one of 3 status conditions. We prefer sleep. We'll take a paralysis.
Yeah, sleep is great. Paralysis, it can be helpful. Poison, maybe if you get lucky, like you bring them down to their focus sash and then poison does the rest.
Well, we're going to get into our top 8 matchup here. We have Albert Larson versus Alex Ortega, and Albert Larson running the Marco Silva team of the Charizard and Jumpluff that won LAIC.
It won LAIC. It did also make it to the finals at Toronto. I tell you, I've run this team myself. It is so dangerous, especially with Jumpluff. Jumpluff's like my best friend out there. It's just spamming sleep powders, and it just makes it really hard for a lot of other players to adapt to.
And we also know that Albert, he's made a bunch of finals in the Florida VGC scene. He's a very good player on the local circuit.
Albert, he's honestly a really good player. I played him many times myself, and I love every match I have with him. He's always pretty creative with the teams that he finds or he builds himself, and it's always just really good challenges, I tell you.
And now, honestly, I don't think I've ever played Albert before. I know I've played Alex Ortega before. He is a really good battler. He won a couple locals, I think, in Florida. He also made top 4 at the Jacksonville event last weekend.
Yeah, he was been amazing. Him and Raymond have been making this team together, and it's been really good for both of them so far. I love seeing the Komodo. It's pretty, I wouldn't say it's rare, but it's a bit more uncommon on most teams. But being able to make a really good team around it, get your boosts up, and then it's really hard to counter into.
Well, when we look at this team here, we do on Albert's side, it is that Charizard with the Choice Specs, Heat Wave, Overheat, Weather Ball, and Dragon Pulse, that Jumpluff with the Chlorophyll, but it has Sunny Day, Manual Sunny Day, alongside Automatic Sunny Day with the Drought on the Torkoal.
In a lot of scenarios where it's like you're battling against maybe other rain teams, whatnot, you try with your Torkoal set up and then Pelipper comes in later. So it's always good to have that option for Sunny Day, just in case. Maybe call it on the switch. That's what I like to do. And then it feels really rewarding because then on the same turn, you can still spam out your Heat Waves from your Charizard.
And then also the Porygon 2 being Terra fighting with Terra Blast. That helps out with the King Gambit matchups.
Helps out with King Gambit, helps out against opposing Incineroars. It's a really good Terra type for it because it just punches a lot of different Pokemon that you'll run into with this team.
And when we look at Alex Ortega's team, we see a Kamo-O with that Clanger Soul and the Throat Spray to get a +2 to its special attack at the cost of 33% of its health. You've got that Electabuzz with Follow Me, Electro Whip, Taunt, Protect. You've got a Primarina. You've got a... Wait, that's a Talonflame?
Yeah, Talonflame.
We have my bird! We got my bird!
That bird, that thing is terrifying a lot of times. You try with the, I've seen it all the time, the Talonflame and the Komodo lead. You can set up your Tailwinds, maybe go for Cling Scales right away or Clinger Soul, get your boost. You got your Will-O-Wisp. It can make it really tricky to get into this matchup right here. The Electabuzz is also really scary because it's another way to help Komodo set up its boost right there with the Follow Me.
And then also we do see that Rillaboom. It is the Grassy Surge Assault Vest. It does have high horsepower, which helps out in the Incineroar and Golden Go matchups. But then we also see it is a Terra Dark Sneasler with Focus Sash.
So what I always like with the Rillaboom, I always prefer high horsepower because I see so many of them with their but they're just their U-turns, right? And it's always really difficult, especially in endgame scenarios where maybe Rillaboom's the last Pokemon, and then you're stuck against a fire, a flying, or a steel type, and it's just so hard to counter in those situations.
Well, one of our trainers here, is it going to be Albert Larson or is it going to be Alex Ortega who wins this set and moves on to the top 4? We're going to get in a game number 1, and it's going to be Electabuzz and Primarina for Alex. Meanwhile, it is Porygon 2 and Ursaluna for Albert.
Ooh, this is going to be very interesting right here. So with the Ursaluna and the Primarina, they're all within that little area where they have very similar speeds, and they are obviously the big hitters right now on the field. So we're going to have to see how that speed matchup is going to be and who can hit who harder real quick. But it might be safe for Albert to maybe go Terra out of its water weakness right there with that Primarina right in front of it.
We do see Ursaluna just going for the Protector just to make sure it gets the Flame Orb activation here. Meanwhile, the Electabuzz going for that Taunt, trying to prevent a Trick Room from going up here and allowing this Ursaluna to just go to town.
That's a good plan right there. And We got the taunt off on the Porygon 2. Now it can't set up any Trick Room, so now it's going to be a little bit trickier for Albert to get his footing off in the battlefield. At the very least, Albert does have his Ursaluna at full health. He can still go for potentially a Terra and do big damage into either of Alex's Pokemon on the field right now.
He definitely can here because this Porygon 2, we just saw it took about 33% of its health there from that Life Orb Hyper Voice, just showcasing the power of that Eviolite held item, giving it a 50% boost to its defenses. However, that Primarina did take 10% of its health from that Life Orb.
Every little bit matters, especially when you got your Life Orb damage right there. You're going to be chipping away at you. Got to be careful because you never know when a certain hit might be able to sneak up on you that wouldn't normally KO Primarina from full HP.
We're going to see a switch out here from the Porygon 2, and in comes the Torkoal next for Albert here, setting up the Drought and the Harsh Sunlight to lower the power of those Hyper Voices from Primarina.
Primarina's Hyper Voices will get weaker, and at the same time, Albert is also choosing to Terrastalize his Ursaluna right off the bat. Wants to make sure that he can take as little damage as possible from any oncoming Hyper Voices.
And it's going to be that Ghost Terra on the Ursaluna here. Meanwhile, Electabuzz going for the Follow Me to redirect any attacks into that Primarina potentially. It will just be a Hyper Voice here. Does well over 50% of the Torkoal, even through the sun.
Torkoal losing so much HP. It's also interesting, Alex choosing to go for the Follow Me with his Electabuzz and no Ghost Terra either to be able to take any potential facades from him. So he's just okay with letting it go from this state right now.
We do see that Electabuzz did go down there to the facade with the Guts boost there, but in comes Sneasler next. So Sneasler does have access to that Throat Chop and the Dark Terra on Alex's side here. Now with the Incineroar in the back, potentially to get that Intimidate drop off, I think Ursaluna might be able to survive a Terra Dark Throat Chop here.
From that range, I wouldn't doubt it any other way. With the Throat Chop and the Terra Dark from Sneasler, it's always a good idea to have that in the back because I see so many times, you know, Sneasler's just always pinned up against any opposing ghost types, especially Goldango.
Yeah, definitely against Goldango. I mean, the Ursaluna is in a very good position here if it's able to get up that Trick Room from the Porygon 2 or even just get rid of these two major threats in Primarina and Sneasler.
Sneasler, let's see what's... All right, so we got Albert. He is going to switch out. He's going to go straight into his Incineroar right now. Get the -1 onto the Sneasler. Maybe able to help it take any potential Throat Chops just a little bit better. And we are going to see that Terrastalization coming from Alex's side.
And Sneasler is going to be Terrastalizing into that Dark type, showcasing that it definitely is related to Weavile.
Absolutely. You know, they think alike, you know. They got the Dark typing. It's just in their blood at this point. They got to keep doing the Throat Chops. They can't keep doing Dark damage whenever they can.
And we do see that it is the Throat Chop into the Ursaluna, which protects on this turn. Meanwhile, Primarina is most likely going to go for that Hyper Voice once again. We saw how much it did to Torkoal. How much is it going to do to this Incineroar with the Life Orb super effective and the Sun just under 50%?
Just under 50%. That's actually really good for the Incineroar right there because they'll be able to take a few extras right there, especially while the Sun is still around. I can't tell you how much longer the Sun will be around, but at least they'll be able to stick around for one more turn, especially.
He definitely will be able to stay around for at least one more turn because this Sneasler, it does not have access to the Fake Out, even though it's already past the turn that it's been on the field, so it couldn't go for the Fake Out. Meanwhile, Incineroar could if the Sneasler protects, but will the Primarina also call this Protect here? It does.
That's a good call right there on Alex's side because either way, with the Ursaluna right there, it still has access to any powerful attacks, especially with that Guts boost. So any Pokemon on Alex's side could honestly just go down immediately. So he's just playing it very safely right now.
He really is playing it very safely, and it just remained to be seen if the Ursaluna could go for something like a Earthquake here. Now, Earthquake is a little bit of a risky move because it will do damage to your partner Pokemon, but at the same time, it will be doing massive damage through the Primarina and the Sneasler. And Primarina, the only damage it's taken has been from that Life Orb.
That Life Orb damage, it racks up pretty quickly, especially if you're just really not paying attention. So you got to be careful about that. At the very least right now, with Albert's plans, it seems like he's ready to just... Oh, and Close Combat is just going to take out that Incineroar right off the bat.
So Incineroar goes down there to the close combat, and now this is going to be a single target attack on this Porygon 2. Will it be the... Oh no, it's the Moonblast. He switches it up.
Good call on there for the Moonblast right there. It does a little bit extra damage, not weakened by any sun, whatnot. And now we got Albert. He's got to make a tough choice what he wants to do because Sneasler is still around and it is very nasty in this game scenario right here.
It is very nasty in this end game because the Primarina is in a perfect position because it is faster than that Porygon 2. It's faster than the Ursaluna, and it's faster than the Torkoal. And I believe this is going to be the last turn of Sun coming up. So once that happens, the Sun is gone.
Sun is gone, but even then, if from the way of the range of all of Albert's Pokemon at this stage in the game, it's going to be very tricky for Albert to really pick it up at this rate. With the Sun going away, those Primarina Hyper Voices are going to do even more damage. It's even in range to knock out the Porygon 2 at this stage.
It is in range to knock out the Porygon 2 there with that Life Orb boost, but now it just remains to be seen if the Ursaluna could potentially go for something like that Facade into the Sneasler, but the Sneasler still has its Focus Sash intact as Ursaluna goes for a Protect here, probably go for that Throat Chop, but no, it's a close combat into the Porygon 2!
Excellent call on Alex's end right there, going straight for the Porygon 2, making sure that absolutely no Trick Rooms are set up at this battle right now.
And with that, the Primarina could just go for the Moonblast very freely into this Ursaluna because the Ursaluna is going to be a Ghost type. The Harsh Sunlight fades, but all that's left is that Torkoal in this Ursaluna in the back.
All of Torkoal and Ursaluna in the back. Alex has a very good position right now to just knock out each Pokemon one after the other at this stage of the game.
He definitely has an opportunity here. Alex is in a commanding position here, only losing that Electabuzz early in this battle and just setting up that Primarina and Sneasler to clean up.
Even though Albert is on the losing end right now, that doesn't mean he is out of the competition. He can still pull it back in games 2 and 3. It might be worth taking this time to really strategize and how to improve in game 2 right there, especially if he can't get Trick Room off immediately.
It's definitely a possibility because, again, that Sneasler does still have access to the Focus Sash here, but Primarina, I wonder if a double up with the Moonblast and a -1 Throat Chop would be enough to knock out that Ursaluna.
It's really tough to say right now. We're just going to go for a quick Protect on the Torkoal right now, and then Throat Chop is probably, it's just going to go straight into that Ursaluna.
And it
Oh my
almost
goodness!
knocks out, but it's a Hyper Voice! It's a Life Orb Hyper Voice to this Ursaluna, and it will do enough!
It has been knocked out of this game right now. All that's left is the little Torkoal. It's going to be very hard for this game, but you know what? We're going to see how Alex can maybe do in game 2 from this point on.
And seeing the writing on the wall there, I think that Albert is willing to go to game number 2 on this set. What a battle by Alex there in game 1, Brendan.
I tell you, that was really impressive right there. I'd like to see how Albert can maybe adjust, if Alex is ready, he's got his Electabuzz at the lead right there. He is ready to click that taunt button immediately. So maybe Alex will have to think of a different strategy right then and there. Unfortunately, it looks like that Electabuzz, it does have the Vital Spirit, so it's not like you can get any sleep powers on that Electabuzz either.
You're absolutely right, but it's also important to note, though, that the Electabuzz, even though it had Vital Spirit, it went for Taunt in the Porygon 2, and Albert wisely went for damage into the Electabuzz. He did not opt to go and try to set up that Trick Room. He just went raw damage into Electabuzz.
I think at that position, it'd be pretty easy to suspect that, he's going to go for that taunt right then there. Yeah, just go for damage right then and there, especially with that Eviolite. Every bit of damage counts to knock out that Electabuzz because it is very tricky a lot of times.
And honestly, I wonder if possibly what Albert could have done there in game number 1 is he would have just went into the Primarina and maybe even just Earthquaked after a little bit of chip damage here. But we will find out afterwards because we're about to get into game number 2. Will Alex Ortega move to top 4 or will Albert Larson force a game 3? We have some switch ups on the side. We have Jumpluff and Torkoal for Albert, but Sneasler and Talonflame has made an appearance.
Talonflame is on the field right now. It has the sharp, big, boosted Brave Birds. That is not going to be fun for that poor Jumpluff right there. Could get knocked out just instantly, so Albert's going to have to be very careful and choosy about how he wants to approach this lead up right here.
He will have to figure it out because this Talonflame does have access to that Sharp Beak boosted Brave Bird here. Could just go for Tailwind too to work around both Tailwinds.
Could go for, yeah, I would absolutely go for Tailwind right here and then there.
And we're going to see Jumpluff Terrastalize here to turn off its weakness to those Flying type moves and become a pure Fire type for the remainder of this battle. Now, what did the Sneasler go for? No, it's just a Brave Bird on the Talonflame.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa. Wow. Over 50% into the Jumpluff. Meanwhile, Jumpluff getting the Tailwind up for his side, and a Dire Claw coming out, a double up, and Jumpluff is down. The Tailwind might be up, but Terra is gone for Albert.
The Tailwind is up, Jumpluff is gone, but you know what? I've played this team many times. Sometimes that's all you need out of your Jumpluff right then and there. Overheat does so much damage to the Talonflame right there. It only has like about a quarter of its HP left. So it's a really good position, honestly, for Alex right now, because now that Talonflame, it lost HP, so now it can't do any of its Gale Wings shenanigans, whatnot.
It can't do any of its Gale Wings, but here's an important piece to note here, Brendan. The Ursaluna switches in and gets its Flame Orb. However, the Ursaluna, because Jumpluff Terrastalized, it cannot Terrastalize out of its weakness to this Sneasler's fighting type.
You know, it's going to be really scary right now because, yeah, you got a good point right there. That Sneasler is still at full HP, so it's obviously going to be able to take any hit from the Ursaluna right there. Might be able to knock it out with a good close combat right there.
It very well could, because this Talonflame, I mean, it got the damage into the Jumpluff there, which was very impressive at the cost of some of its own HP, and then it took that overheat in the sun. But Alex opting to switch out the Talonflame. You're trying to preserve it for a possible late-game Tailwind.
Primarina we're going to have to see how much damage this Flame boosted. Oh my goodness, over half. Oh my goodness, Sneasler is brought down to its sash. But it's at full speed right now, so
it's going to be a close combat into the Ursaluna. And
it's
a one-hit knockout! So Ursaluna goes down!
Ursaluna is down for the count, and now Alex is down to his final two Pokemon for today.
And Charizard taking that solar power damage, the residual damage at the cost of a power boost in the harsh sunlight here. So this is a really interesting endgame.
It's a really tough endgame, but I do believe Alex can still pull this off. I don't think Sneasler is going to be strong enough to potentially knock out that Charizard from that HP right there. So if Alex or Albert can potentially land the Heat Wave on both of Alex's Pokemon, he's going to be getting a really good game position.
We see a Protect coming out from the Sneasler on Alex's side here after the Helping Hand, and it's going to be a double Protect. Just stall out another turn of the Tailwind here. Very important for Alex.
Stalling out the Tailwind, you know, and then also you're stalling out the Sun. Just try to see it buy as much time as you can, because in this scenario right here for Alex, that's all he can really do. Otherwise, he's just going to get all of his Pokemon knocked out left and right really quickly.
We see that there's only 2 turns left of that harsh sunlight, but even more importantly, this is the last turn of Tailwind, and because Sneasler was brought down to its Focus Sash, Unburden has been procced on Alex's side. It is not going to be faster than this Charizard here with a Dire Claw.
We're going to see if that Dire Claw into Charizard will do anything really dangerous at that point.
And we see the 4th Pokemon on Alex's side is the Kama-O, but we do see another Helping Hand come out here, and it will be a Dire Claw into the Charizard, and it doesn't do enough, but in comes the Heat Wave.
Oh no!
It misses the Kama-O!
Oh no!
Oh my god, the Kama-O missed!
Kama-O misses, still at full HP, I can see, and the Charizard goes down to its own solar power.
Oh my god, and now it's just the Torkoal versus a Kama-O, a Talonflame, and a Life Orb Primarina, and there's only 1 turn left of the Sun!
Only 1 turn left, and all it can do is just hope it can get any remaining damage possible. It still hasn't lost any special attack from its Overheat, but it's going to be a very uphill battle for Albert at this point in the game.
It is going to be an uphill battle here, because all that's left is that Primarina, the Kama-O, the low HP Talonflame. But Kama-O opting for a Protect here. Very interesting play. Potentially doing a double Protect here just to stall out that last turn of Sun and make this Hyper Voice even more powerful.
No, that's a good call on Alex's end. He just wants to make sure he can minimize as much damage as possible from the Torkoal's overheat, and now its sunlight is gone for the rest of this battle.
The harsh sunlight is gone. This is going to be a single target liquid voice life orb boosted hyper voice into the Torkoal. I feel so bad for the turtle.
He's just tried his best here today, but you know what? I'll give him a good thumbs up because he made it this far. He got to top 8 today. I'd say that's pretty good for today, especially for this really stacked cup here today.
It was a massively stacked cup here. So for Torkoal to say that I made top 8, it is very impressive. In comes the clanging skills, does well over 50%, but all that is left here after the throat spray activation by virtue of clanging skills will be that hyper voice from Primarina. And Torkoal goes down, and Alex Ortega, the 4 seed, advances to top 4.
Alex played him very well here today, especially with all of his Pokemon. You know, he made sure he was ready for both ends of between Trick Room and for Sun. Got rid of Jump Bluff pretty quickly and early before it could even set up any potential sleep powders. So yeah, I'm gonna give Alex a really good thumbs up right there.
That was an incredible battle by both our trainers here. Albert attempted to use Marco's team, and he did well at the beginning, but he just couldn't get the necessary positioning to allow Pokemon like that Choice Specs Solar Power Charizard to really do major damage.
He did as much as he could. You know, it was still pretty impressive just watching that Charizard with the Solar Power, the Choice Specs, the Sun, and it's just throwing out all those heat waves. It did over 50% to the Primarina right there. So in a potential scenario, I think Albert could have really actually pulled it off.
And what's also important to note is that by Alex leading with the Talonflame and the Sneasler, he forced Albert to go with that Terastallization on the Jumpluff because Talonflame's Gale Wings being active due to it being at full HP would have knocked out the Jumpluff in one hit had it not Terastallized. So that was actually a smart play by Albert. Make sure that you take out the threat and get rid of the Terastallization.
Absolutely. You know, he played it very well. He wanted to make sure he was set up as quickly as he could. He wanted to make sure that he absolutely just had the chance to set up in general.
Yeah, and I mean, again, hats off to Albert Larson here. I mean, he's made multiple finals. He's top cut locals in Florida. He's a really good battler. I mean, teams like Marco's, they can be a little difficult to pilot at times, but it also just comes down to the matchups.
Absolutely. You know, both players here today, they just had amazing Pokemon. They had amazing teams, amazing strategies. I'm happy to see both of them just make it this far into the tournament.
I'm excited as well. I mean, and hey, Talonflame made top 4.
Absolutely, yeah, Talonflame. That thing is just scary. Every time I go face up against it, I'm just never prepared, and I'm just like, oh boy, it's going to be one of those days.
There's something about that bird. There's something about that bird. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break and figure out our top 4 matchups, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Stay tuned.